Hey guys, welcome back to Etheria Restart. In today's video, Pridewind have updated their tier list to include Yeli and also a bunch of changes now that the Inferno difficulty has been unlocked for more players for a longer period of time. We're getting some more consolidated results on who sits where. So we're going to go through, first of all, Yeli, and then we'll go through a bunch of the changes that they have included here. So Yeli, first of all, we can just mouse over her and see where she ranks in everywhere. You can see generic PvE tier 0. Now, generic PvE was one, like when the game launched, it was like no one was too stressed about it. But now we're at the point where you're really trying to push Ember Trek, you're really trying to push Echoes, you're trying to push all those things to get as many rewards as you can. So, you know, it is quite a relevant mode to look at. Her with the defense break, the AoE defense break, she's great with Revelation as well. She's got the strip, which is a steal. She's just all around good in general PvE modes. And as you can see, she is sitting at tier 0.5 in everything else. I think tier 0.5 is like a good safe placement for her, being that she is strong, but you know, it's still pretty early days. So you don't want to put her as the absolute top tier when she doesn't just scream, I'm the most broken character in the game. So I think that's pretty solid placements, sitting at 0.5 everywhere except for the general PvE. So now let's look at just the generic PvE as a list on its own. Once again, much more relevant with all those game modes that we have. There's not too much I really want to emphasize here. They moved a couple of characters, like one tier or so like that. The big one that I want to emphasize in this is going to be the Vice. I've been using this guy absolutely everywhere. Also Kachi the Guard. I might make a video on some of these guys as well, dedicated, but these two characters, very budget characters that are absolutely huge in a lot of the generic PvE. Kachi the Guard, especially if you pair him with Ling Luo, it allows you to really extend those buffs and just become an absolute menace. Put them on Time Weave. We've got Vice, who's going to have the AoE pushback, AoE attack break, and the big thing is his taunt on the skill 1, which can really shut down a lot of tricky bosses and stuff like that. So that is the big one that I wanted to highlight over there. Besides that, nothing has changed massively in the generic PvE that I feel like is really desperate on, you know, diving straight into. Then let's go into the next one. Let's go into Dokyoki, because that's the next one that they put on the changelog, and I'm just looking at the changelog as we go to see anything relevant. The first one is that Sanya got dropped down. Now, with this one, this definitely does make sense. So Sanya's AI is so damn stupid with the way destroyed HP works. So in Dokyoki, when you get to Inferno, it's something I've reported to them. I don't know if they're going to fix it, whether it's meant to be fixed, but destroyed HP with the coding of the game is not considered, like, if you know, like destroyed HP is essentially reducing your max HP, but the game still considers it lost HP. So the issue is that her heal will skip an ally that can be healed if there's an ally who has destroyed max HP lower than where they're at. So it will try and heal someone that can't be healed instead of someone that can be healed due to the destroyed max HP. She will also use her skill 3 on an ally that can't be healed because they've got destroyed max HP. Honestly, same goes with Ling Luo. She will use her big heals up when she thinks allies are low, when it's just due to destroyed HP, which is really annoying. The most annoying one for me is over here with my man Vice, because I've been playing with him a lot. And if he has any destroyed HP, he won't heal an ally because his passive requires him to be at full HP. And it doesn't consider the destroyed HP his new max HP limit. It considers it to be lost HP, and there's nothing you can do. So healers are just absolutely stupid with the way destroyed HP works in Dokyoki, unfortunately. I hope they do adjust it, because it feels like more of a bug than a feature, in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. And that basically puts, you know, Sanya falls off in there because it's just the stupidness of the healing. Ling Luo still has the immunity shield, still has buff extension, so she's fantastic. But then we have Valerian, who's obviously just huge because she's not just a support, she's also a buffer. She's a reliable way to get that attack buff whilst placing shields, and shields are so important because they protect you from that destroyed max HP. So she's an absolute beast over there. That was the first change, like I said, Sanya. They actually moved, and I mean, you won't see this too often, but a red unit up in this. Now, the reason Bayonton goes up is for those like one-shot comps with the Romoka. She's just got really strong buffing with the attack crit damage, so she is one of the rare units that you will see anywhere up above tier 3 or 4 in a boss for the element that they are weak against, because obviously they take giga damage, but if you kill everyone before they can take damage, well, who really gives a shit on that? And then we had Kachi the Guard going up a tier as well. That was the other change that they had. I honestly think he could go up another tier eventually, but I don't think he's going to be on the level of Beonton. So yeah, it probably makes sense why he's sitting there. But this guy, like I said, really great for a free-to-play character for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people can get a good chunk of use out of this guy. So moving on to the next one they've got in the change log, and that is over into Terramaton. And Terramaton, they basically just narrowed in on the fact that Dot is the best way to deal with it, and that's why Sanya is up here by herself. They previously had Didding and Chloros up there, but they've been moved down just because the Dot is just too powerful, and specifically her ability with Dot. Now Fangus is up here because he's a great partner for her with those Dot comps, and then we have Didding and Chloros. They work really well together to absolutely nuke the boss. And then we've got our two constant damage dealers with Messiah and also Yeli up here. Yeli also having the strip, which is great. Messiah is obviously having the ignored defense, but also that invincibility can come in clutch in certain situations against Terramaton as well. So that's where they are sitting over there. And then we have over here is the one thing is that Freya did get dropped from tier 0 to tier 0.5. That was one of the ones in the change log. Basically, mainly because it just feels like Valerian's the better attack buffer because it's just reliable and gives you the cheat death and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that's like the main reason is because Lily is her own type of support, whereas these two are both the attack buffing support, but Valerian does it really well and also protects your team from the big damage that Terramaton has. So that is why she's sitting up there. And the other, once again, they've split the tiers as well. You can see now we have DPS, debuff, control. Control obviously is control effects, whether it be gauge manipulation, stuff like that. Debuff is just raw debuffs. Gauge manipulation, freezing, stunning, all that stuff. So then we have support and the sustain. And when you have a sustain that is like one of the best sustains for avoiding the one shot and also giving your attack buff to your attackers, Valerian is an absolute monster in this aspect of the game. Moving on from that, we have Aurora. So Aurora is the next one. And this is where, once again, like I said with Dokyoki, you're kind of looking at Jada and Rilmoka being the best DPS over in this one. I don't think I emphasized that enough when I went through Doki, but these are the two main ways to kill it. You've got Jada over here with the Revelation procs, and you got Rilmoka with the one-shot comps, and that's pretty much the way Doki works. Once again, Terramaton has the poisons with Sanya, which is the best way to do it, and then over here in Aurora, we're getting the Rosa and Jada being a really solid pick. Once again, you get good Revelation procs out of these guys. They're on element. You can even get the buff steal with Jada if she's paired up with Lily, so Lily can use the basic attack, Jada follows up, and gets that buff steal as well, which is really nice. The next one we have over here in the debuffers is going to be the two strippers. So the two primary strippers that you're going to use in this fight. Heinrich, because he does it passively. Viper will use it at the start of battle, which is great. Also, positive element, which really helps, has the strong defensive debuffs with the speed break and the attack break, and also has the revenge capabilities to also use the strip on the revenge once you stack up. So Viper, just a great one in general for the stripping over there as well. Once again, this is a very sustain heavy fight, so you will get things like the Chiaki coming up here. You'll get Mia up there as well, and basically because you just need to have such a high amount of healing throughput, so all the healers are going to sort of see some better use over here, except for Sanya, because Sanya is the wrong element, and that's a bit of a rip over there. But that's pretty much sums up the Aurora. We are seeing these two be the primary DPS, primary strippers, best support, best healer, but normally you're running it with a second healer in this one to get through it, unless you're absolutely nuking the shit out of it. So that is what is happening over in Aurora. Union Boss, I don't think there was many changes here. I think that pretty much covers all the changes that they really went through. PvP, I don't know if they adjusted anything here except for splitting the tiers, but it is definitely looking like, speaking to some of the guys that are experimenting in those higher tiers, especially of RTA, it is becoming that a lot of Bulwark, which is the immunity, and also the Bloodbath, which is the one that when you take more than 20% of your max HP in a single attack, the rest of the damage is mitigated by 55%. It's becoming very much towards that with bruises or people still trying to cleave through that. Now, this is where we come in with Yeli in PvP at the moment, where if you're playing cleave and they don't have the Bloodbath, she's going to just melt things. If they do have have the bloodbath, well, she still has the possibility to kill one enemy while chunking the other ones pretty decently, which is still a great effect to have to be able to snipe a key enemy when you're playing cleave against those stally type comps, because it just puts you on the front foot. So, you know, she definitely does have her uses there. Messiah, obviously, with his ignore defense, going to be a great cleaver, probably one of the better cleavers out there. Then we have Born. Now, you may look at Born and go, why is Born in the top tier? Born is just so chunky because of his ability to gain max HP based on his attack. He also has the strip on his AoE attack, which is great. He has self-heals with the basic attack. And on top of that, he also ignores passive. So that can be clutch in a few situations as well. And then we have Rahu over here as well. Rahu just ramps up super well. He's super tanky. Put Artisan, he's got his own defense buff. He's got his own unique defense buff as well. Gets super chunky and really hard to kill, and then just ramps up as the battle goes on, which is a really strong effect to have. I do agree with this one. Holden is a monster in PvP. Really hard to gear, once again, very gear dependent on this guy. But, you know, the strip, the big thing is his skill 2 being able to like completely lock out an enemy if he outspeeds is absolutely fantastic. So he's one of those ones that, you know, if your enemies have immunity, well, you're just going to go ahead and use the skill 3 and strip and then apply those debuffs as well. Or if they don't, you can just go ahead and lock out the main threat over there. Over here, Kaz, definitely an absolute monster over here. The ability to sleep on a 3-turn cooldown is just immense. And then this 2-turn sleep on the basic, she can just cycle through people and sleep out entire teams. And then you just play single target damage and pick off one enemy at a time, waking them up, putting them back to sleep, so on and so forth. And she can just lock out an enemy team. Marvel's still doing well. I just can't bring myself to build the Marvel now. I know he's still strong. You can see he's got a couple tier 1s, tier 0.5, and then tier 0 in PvP. I'm just not interested in building the guy, me personally. Mia, obviously crazy with the gauge manipulation and freeze on top of that with the heal block. Just an absolutely crazy PvP unit. One that is a massive threat to anyone basically going out there unless you're stacking those immunities on your characters. Then obviously Freya. Freya's just great because there's like cheese you can do with Freya where if you have Bulwark on a character and you have Freya, they can get that little tiny advance at the start of battle. And maybe if you've got like two fast Bulwark pieces, well, that can go on your fastest character, it gives them an extra advance at the start of battle, which can creep them into outpacing someone else. Like there's a bunch of Freya cheese, but a lot of debuffs. Like when you look at something like, so let's say Marvel, for instance, you know, he's reducing gauge a lot. Then he's also applying 2 debuffs. Well, those 2 debuffs are also going to, you know, apply with Freya and push back further. So she is great in general. Lily, I don't think we need to talk about Lily anymore. The tier 0 across the board pretty much explains that. Tsukiyomi, great for boosting that attack roll on cleave. Just boost your Messiah. He's now got the attack buff and away you go. It's a full gauge increase at max skills, which is better than what Lily offers because Lily at max is only a 30% gauge push, meaning sometimes your Messiah is not going to be, or your DPS, whoever it is not going to be fast enough to then be the next one in the turn auto. So that's why Tsukiyomi is so good, because it is that full advance, which is fantastic. Up here, Ling Luo, just best healer cleanser in general. But then we have Valerian, who once again, she is so huge. I love using her with my Messiah because it's like as soon as Messiah gets his turn, he gets that shield and he gets the attack buff. And you've also got the cheat death with Valerian. So, you know, she's just an all-round monster over there. All these options. Rin, absolutely crazy in PvP. Actually, like, I really want to build this character on my account because you can just build her so fast and her damage scales on speed. So you can build her fast. So now she's really easy to advance forward with a Lily or something. And then she can hit super damn hard whilst not sacrificing any of that damage for building her on speed because her damage is dealt based on speed. Now, Lian, due to the gauge stealing, I didn't think she'd be that high in endgame PvP, but maybe I am missing something on that one. I'll have to chat to the boys about that, find out why she's doing so well, because with all those, you know, the bulwarks out there, she's missing that gauge manipulation, but maybe she's a later play, meaning you let them move and then you go ahead and steal. Not too sure. We talked about Yeli. Rosa, just fantastic in general. The one problem with Rosa versus Yeli is that Rosa needs to land debuffs to get her follow-ups, whereas Yeli just does it regardless. She just has to crit, so it's a lot more reliable. I still love Hoyan. Hoyan's just got a couple of the big counters with Born and Messiah, basically ignoring her effects. You got the block buffs from Heinrich and stuff like that. So, you know, she does have her issues, but she is pretty good if they don't have a counter to her. Now, another one I want to talk about quickly is Viper. Viper has the ability to reduce the crit damage taken by allies. That's great. It's kind of like him combined with like a Tiamat. Tiamat reduces the damage allies take by 25%. Viper reduces the crit damage they take, and it just gives extra extra mitigation on top of stacking the bloodbaths and stuff like that to allow you to really survive longer into a game. That pretty much is everything that I wanted to talk about here in the PvP tier list. Sorry, I've been getting right into the PvP, so I had to ramble on a little bit about that. But yeah, the PvP, honestly, it's quite fun. I am really enjoying the RTA and where it's at. But that is the update on the Pridewind tier list. Let me know any thoughts you guys have. Once again, this is all subjective, so if you have different opinions, it's not, no one's wrong. It's just, it is the opinion of whoever's making the list at the time. Like I said, I feel like the great thing about this list at the moment is for the bossing. You go, okay, who are the primary DPS that people are using in this boss? Who are the primary DPS that people are using in this boss? And then this boss. And that's the way I really like to look at it, because you always know the roles you got to fill, or there's the roles you got to fill in the bosses. And looking at this goes like, hey, what role do I need? And who's the best at that role, or the most used in that role? And I think that's the great thing about these tier lists, when you're just trying to form your team based on what you have on your account. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now, guys. That is the tier list. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.